the Broken Arrow balance patch made the balance worse, and now Russia is stronger than ever. So here is a Broken Arrow devlog from just when the patch dropped. Basically, when the patch came out, the reviews were like 21% negative. Sorry, 21% positive for that day. I'll just prove it to you because some people won't believe it. So you just go down to the graph here, right? This was patch day, 21% positive. People were not happy. One of the things they were complaining about was balance. And then immediately after the patch came out, I think maybe the next day, actually this was 13th, and this was 14th. Yeah, the next day, they did a breakdown on the balance, and they basically said Russia 51% win rate, USA 49% win rate. This was before the hotfix, right? So these are the distribution by specialization in terms of like who's playing what. I would assume that these numbers, well, shouldn't they add up to more than 100 because you picked two? How is that even working? Because you picked two, right? So shouldn't it add up to 200? Because you pick two at once, but I'm not sure how that works. I guess it's just like a relative percentage, right? So it's not that Armored Brigade is picked 25% of the time. It's that Armored Brigade is picked 25% compared to Special Operations Forces 24%. Anyway, yeah, it's a breakdown by specialization. And I'm not going to read this whole thing out. You can read it out yourself. But basically what they're saying is we're counting everybody's games. And if you count everybody's games, hey guys, the win rates are pretty good. And they would be, wouldn't they? Because of course they would be. There's so many games where you just join and then everybody leaves and the game just ends straight away. And that's obviously going to trend everything towards 50%. The new players generally don't know what they're doing. That's going to trend everything towards 50%. Bugged games, hackers, cancelled games, noobs. Everything on that applies pressure towards 50%. So yeah, they can turn around and they can say 51% positive, 49% negative. Good job, guys. So they released the patch, and here are the statistics after the patch. So, so this is before. Let me just explain what you're seeing here, right? So this is. I'll link this in the comments. Basically, this statistical analysis has been done by a Korean guy, and the devs are trying to get in contact with him so they can ask him for help. So that's pretty funny. Anyway, I'll just explain what you're seeing here. Basically, it's specialty picks versus win rate. So there's 10 combinations for Russia and 10 for America because it's airborne striker, right? Not just airborne, it's airborne striker, airborne SOF, right? There should be more airborne. Yeah, I think it's airborne marines there, maybe? Kind of hard to tell. Do you see what I mean? So there's 10 specs, because if you think about it, there's 10 combinations if there's 5 specs. Because imagine these are your 5 specs, right? And you have to pick two. You have to pick two. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then I probably shouldn't have done this on stream. 5, 6, 7, right? Probably should have done a different color there. 8, 9, 10. Right, that's just how it is. There's 10 combinations. 10 for Russia, 10 for America. Before the patch, Russia was doing better. as was outlined, right? 51 to 49%. But you see they kind of clustered together, right? And this on the x-axis is specialty picks. So, like, how much is it picked? If it's further on the right, it's more popular. And it's further up, it wins more. So something up here is obviously very imbalanced, right? Whereas something up here is like something of a sleeper pick, right? It's not picked a lot, but it wins a lot. And then anything down here is imbalanced. But if something was over here, it might be that it's not actually that imbalanced. It's just all the noobs are playing it and it's making them lose. Do you see what I mean? Anyway, Russia's winning. Before the patch, the best spec was Guard Brigade Coastal, which is quite interesting. Lots of sleeper picks here, right? Not picked very much at all, 3% of the time. 3% out of, if you've got 10 options, 10% is the average, right? But then these all seem to be lower, so I'm not sure how that works. You would assume if you had 10 options, 10% would be the the average. Whatever. Anyway, the most common pick for Russia is Guard motorized. Guard moto. Oh, it's tanks. Okay, I kept thinking that's mech. That explains a lot, actually. Yeah, so obviously the tank ones, right? So VDV tank. I've got a video guide on VDV tank. Gets picked a lot, wins a lot, and then you've got tank moto, which is another. It's even more popular. Gets picked a lot, wins about the same amount. I think VDV tank might actually be a bit harder. And then the highest win rate one is tank coastal. Then you've got tank mech, which I'm actually quite surprised by. I feel like mech isn't that good, but clearly it's working out. Coastal mech, which I find very surprising. But you see that the pick rate is super low, right? And then the worst Russian one you can't really see is motorized coastal, which is the one I play. Isn't that just great, you guys? The one I play has the lowest win rate, but it's still above 50. Anyway, patch comes out. Patch comes out, you know. What's more, the developers themselves are active players. Each of us has spent thousands of hours in the game, and our experience in the genre goes back to the days of World in Conflict and Wargame Red Dragon. We don't just analyse the data, we test balance changes firsthand by playing matches, trying out adjustments in real combat situations, and experiencing them just like you do. So I guess they're going to the front line then. But anyway, so after this, whoops, I'm regarded. It got worse. So these arrows, it doesn't necessarily mean that it used to be here and now it's there. It's just talking about direction of travel, and the arrows are scaled to the other arrows. So after the arrows come out, the American divs all get worse, and the Russian divs all get better, except Tank Moto. All the other ones get better. So they took a win rate which was obviously it's been padded, right? But they took a win rate which was 51-49. Obviously, you have these kind of, I would call them a tranquilization factor. That's more of a chemical engineering term. I'm not sure what you would call it in statistics. My statistics aren't great. I do apologize. But you have these kind of tranquilization factors that would push everything towards the mean if you include all the noobs and what have you. And so, yeah, they went from 49%, 51% to, does say it here somewhere. Should probably do a cut here. Russian win rate 53%, and it's going up. As people figure the meta out more, the Russian win rate keeps increasing. So, yeah, it's not ideal. It's not ideal. Basically, the balance has made things worse. I'm just trying to find the actual, because if he says it keeps decreasing, I suppose this is the most useful one. Sadly, there's this thing in the way. These Korean websites, I don't know, because I can't view this image, apparently. So this is sadly in the way. If we zoom out, does it? No, can't really get rid of that. Yeah, so at the lowest elo range, yeah, you can see that the win rates are changing. I don't want to just like crib all this guy's work. I'll link it and then you can go read it, right? Obviously, this is an English translation of a Korean article as well, so it's not the best thing ever. There we go. So, comments that violate or defame the rights of others may be subject to operating principles and applicable laws. Anyway, at the lowest elo range, the win rate difference is 16%. Like, look, between the so the US win rate is 42%, and the Russian one is 58%. We don't really have an average, right? Obviously, as it climbs up, it actually gets closer. It's just basically at the low level, you just buy Barbaris, buy Barbaris, buy Barbaris. Wow, great gameplay. At the high level, people are a little bit better at dealing with that, but the Russians are still winning. So at the highest level, the lowest win rate difference there is 46.6% versus 53.4%, right? So that's still like what, 6.5%, close to 7. It's close to 7%. So that's a 7% win rate for the highest level, and that's the lowest win rate difference. Whereas before the patch, it was 2%. So the patch has made everything worse. In terms of the graph, who are the big winners, right? Guard Brigade, like Tank Coastal, is apparently the best Russian div, but it's not picked very much. And VDV Tank has gone up, and that's the one I have a guide on, so I'll link that in the description. Whereas Tank Moto has gone down. What is that? VDV Coastal has gone up a lot. And then this is Motorized Coastal, which is the one I play the most. And then in terms of the American ones, the worst spec is Airborne SOF, which has had a big decrease, right? So this is like 44.1%. And this is, actually, this is kind of close, actually. But yeah, so these arrows, it doesn't mean it was up here before. It's just relative to all these. So things haven't changed like a massive amount in terms of the individual specs. Like, because you can see these two are basically level, whereas they were basically level before. Armored SOF, I suppose, took the biggest hit, right? Because it had a win rate of like, what is that? Well, actually, I think it's here. Here we go. No, that's not a comparison. That's not a comparison. Anyways, if you want to win, apparently play Tank Coastal or Tank Mech, which I'm really surprised by, or Coastal Mech or VDV Mech. Apparently, Mech is a good spec. Anyway, that's all there is to say. They made a patch, it made it worse, and people are downvoting the game, which wouldn't surprise you given that circumstance. Have a lovely day.